Often we just consume content, but that's it. Then we forget about it. But it's only when you do the work that you will receive rewards as a result. Instead of chasing jobs, just think about what if the jobs would chase me.
I'm Barbara Lorenz, and you are listening to Bitcoin Kebab, the podcast from Bitcoin Basis. Hi Anja, welcome to the Bitcoin Kebab podcast.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, Barbara, and thanks for having me.
So Anja, what was your orange pill moment?
Orange pill moment. I'm not sure if it was a moment or more like a journey, but I remember I was looking, I'm German, and in Germany we are raised to be savers and to take care of our pension from a very young age. And so I was a very responsible German, always doing that. And I just realized at one point that my savings didn't grow anymore, whether it was due to the fact that we didn't get any interest in the bank anymore or inflation. I just didn't see how I would ever get to a good financial secure place when I'm old. So and that made me start to look into investments before I even heard of Bitcoin. And to shift my mindset from saver to investment, I just realized I had to take matters in my own hands, like financial matters. And I took enrolled in a course about investments, but like traditional stocks and stuff. And in that course, someone asked about Bitcoin. That was in 2015, I think. And I remembered that I had heard about Bitcoin like 2 years before that, 2013, I think. But like many people, I heard it the first time and I immediately forgot about it, or I dismissed it as something that's not relevant to me. But when I heard about it again in that course, as I was already in that mindset of looking into money and financial matters, I was like, what is that Bitcoin thing? I heard about this before. Let's look into that. So this time I took it a bit more seriously, looked into it, and never stopped. And I ended up getting kicked out of that course, actually, because the trainer didn't like Bitcoin at all.
Wow.
But for me, I'm happy I found it. I'm happy I took it seriously. And here we are 10 years later. Yeah.
So did you start already like investing? Was it easy to buy Bitcoin, or how was like the first investment journey?
Yeah, it was a bit scary in the beginning. It wasn't too hard looking back at it. Also, there was a lot less choice. Now there are so many ways to buy Bitcoin. And back then there were only a few providers. So someone just showed me how to do it. So it wasn't that difficult, but it took me actually a year of studying before I dared to put my own money into Bitcoin. So I didn't just hear about it and bought Bitcoin. No, I heard about it in 2015. I think I spent the whole year of 2016 studying not only Bitcoin, but actually our current money system. I think that happens to a lot of Bitcoiners because you hear about Bitcoin, but you're like, well, why do we need a new money? We already have money that works. So how is this money different than from the money that we already have? So you spend a lot of time learning about how our current money system works. And the more you understand, the more you realize that Bitcoin is the solution for it. So but it took me a year. And once I understood it, then I finally put my first money in, and I didn't tell anybody, not my friends, because I thought, oh my God, if this goes wrong. But it was at the it was at the very beginning of 2017. I don't know how long you've been in Bitcoin, but that year was a big year in crypto, not just for Bitcoin, but the whole crypto mania back then. And it was the best year for me to get in. I mean, at the beginning, if you got in at the end, different story, but the beginning of a year was a good time to get in.
Yeah. And what inspired you to start BitVocation, and how did it go from an idea to an actual project?
Yeah, so BitVocation only started in 2023 because my journey since 2016, 17 also took me through crypto. which I'm very grateful that I have this exposure as well. And I worked also for Bitcoin companies, for crypto companies. But I've always been a Bitcoiner. But I'm also like, I'm a person who's interested in the future, in new technologies. So I was very happy to work in this world and get to know all these different projects. But in 2023, I was like, I'm a Bitcoiner. I want to work in Bitcoin. I want to be 100% just in Bitcoin. And also my network was more in the crypto world and not in the Bitcoin community. So in 2023, I went to Prague to the conference with the intention to connect more with the Bitcoin community and also find a way to serve the Bitcoin community and see how can I work in Bitcoin? Where do I start? Yeah, and I went there and I just met many people who were like, oh, you work in the industry and I would love to do that too, but I don't know where to start. And so I thought, people want to work in Bitcoin. Well, I have some knowledge about that. So maybe this is how I can start being of service. And but my initial idea was mainly to provide education, just how this world works, because it does work differently from applying for jobs in the fiat world, I believe. And and I remember I went to the booth of Bitcoiner Jobs, which was the main, or maybe still is the main Bitcoin job board. And I asked the guy who was there, his name was Jan, I remember. And then I asked him, are you just a job board or are you also educating people and providing resources and how to navigate this the job market? And he was like, no, we are mainly a job board. So I thought, okay, then I will do that. So that was the start. And my initial idea was to just interview Bitcoiners who already work in the space, and so that they can share how they found their jobs, how they did it, basically, and provide tips and tricks for job seekers. And Jan, the guy from Bitcoiner Job, he ended up being my first person that I interviewed, actually. So that's how everything started. So I thought I would start a YouTube channel where I do this, but since I'm not a YouTuber, I ended up doing only like 5 or 6 interviews, which are still there. But that was the very start of BitVocation, before there was even the name BitVocation.
And how did BitVocation evolve since then, from the first interviews?
Yeah, so I did a few interviews right there at the conference and a few later. And then I started the Substack, I think, because I'm more of a writer than a YouTuber. And but I also really got more into the whole navigation of the job market, and I put myself in the position of a job seeker, and I realized looking for a job is a job in itself. It takes a lot of work. And I'm very grateful. I have been very privileged so far in my life that I never really had to do this. I never really had to chase jobs. I always had a good network where the jobs came to me. So this was a realization, all right, like how hard and how much time and work this requires. And since I'm an efficiency person, I always say my middle name is efficiency. I was like, there must be a better way. This needs to be faster and easier for people. And so that's where I had this idea. And also I noticed that on Bitcoiner Jobs, I mean, it's the main job board, but not all the jobs are on there. Not every Bitcoin company advertises there. So I thought, can we not just scrape the internet for all the Bitcoin jobs and have an easy way that those jobs are then delivered to people? There must be a way to do this. And the good thing of being a digital nomad, which I have been the last 4 years, is that I meet a lot of online entrepreneurs or tinkerers, developers, or people who just work online and know how to do stuff. So I was just asking around in my community, asking, is there anybody who can build me a Telegram bot who knows how to do these things that I have in my that I'm envisioning in my head. And yeah, I found one. I found Eric, it was also here in Bulgaria where I am at the moment. And he said, actually, I want to become a developer, and I'm trying to teach myself all this stuff right now. So this would be a great project for me. Yeah, so that's how this happened. He knows how to scrape the internet, and he built a bot. And this is how the Telegram feed came about. And then also with another person, also from the community, I had a whole session on figuring out what I want to build. And then suddenly the name BitVocation popped up as a result of this session. So this all happened in a very organic way. And yeah, so this is how the Telegram feed came about, basically.
Can you tell us about POV Lab, and what is POV Lab? How does it support the job seeker, and how does it work?
Yeah, so it's POW Lab, Proof of Work Lab.
Okay.
It comes from. And basically that is because all the resources, the Substack, the beginner's guide that people can download there, the job feed on Telegram, and which is on Nostr now too. These are all free resources. Yeah. So anybody can just subscribe, follow, and use it as they want. But yeah, for the people who want a little more guidance, who really want to take this seriously, we have created the POW Lab, Proof of Work Lab, which is basically a small community of Bitcoin professionals who want to have more guidance on this journey, whether it is LinkedIn, because LinkedIn, many Bitcoiners hate it, but it's still the number one place where recruiters look for candidates. Also, people get to join our job seekers database. We are building a talent pool of Bitcoiners. They get to hang out with us in a private Telegram group where they can ask questions, where they can get some accountability for their goals, where we cheer them on, where we celebrate their successes, where they share their challenges, or sometimes just rant because they're frustrated. It's a group for mutual support. And of course, when people tell me, or I just applied for this particular job, and I happen to know a person in that company, then I will also really actively help them and maybe message that person and tell them, hey, one of our people just applied. So it's a coaching guidance sort of group at the moment. And we have just under 30 members right now. This part is not free. The group is not free. We need to monetize a little bit, but also we want to filter out everyone who's not a Bitcoiner, because I really want to guarantee to people that if they join the POW Lab, that they are in a community of other Bitcoiners who are like them. So that's why also we need to charge a little fee. The POW Lab is my favorite part of BitVocation because from the beginning, my focus has been on job seekers. I want to be there for the job seekers, because recruitment agencies serve the employers, not the job seekers. Yeah, it sounds a bit harsh, but for recruitment agencies, the job seekers are actually the product that they are selling. Yeah. And I wanted just to fill a gap and create a place for job seekers to get answers, get some guidance, because often, also in my own experience, you often don't even get a response from recruitment agencies, unless you have the perfect CV that they need right now. And that's not their fault. That's just the business model. I just wanted to fill a gap and really build a service specifically for job seekers. Yeah.
And what kind of employers are the most active on BitVocation?
We need to distinguish a little bit. So in our job feed, we have all of them. We try to have all of them because we want to have the most comprehensive Bitcoin-only job feed out there. But many of them don't even know that we exist, because we basically just scrape public information that they post on their own web pages, and just this is basically a service also mainly for job seekers to make it easier for them. But actually, it's also a big service for the employers to amplify their job listings and get it in front of the right people. But The focus on employers, we only started a few months ago. So we are still in the process of building relationships there and having conversations, and so that we can really build a product that serves them. Yeah, because we are not a recruitment agency, so that we need to. I think it's easy for people to confuse that. It's very understandable that they think of BitVocation as recruitment, but we do not do headhunting, So we have some companies who come to us, who know us already, and ask, hey, do you know a good event manager or graphic designer or customer support or developer, whatever? And what we do then is we check in the Power Lab. Do we have one in the Power Lab or not? If we don't, then that's it. If we do, then we can make an introduction. And maybe if it ends up to be a successful hire, then we can maybe do a referral fee or something. But we do not charge 5-digit recruitment fees, of course, that a proper recruitment agency would charge, because we also don't do as much work as they do. I mean, headhunters, they do a lot of work looking for people. We are not looking for people. We either have them in our pool or not. So that's why I think we are really filling a gap also for all the Bitcoin startups who cannot afford with expensive recruitment agencies. Yeah. Who don't have in-house recruiters. We really want to fill that gap and create an affordable service for like a win-win situation, basically. And for that we just started to build. And yeah, anybody who's watching this, any founder, any recruiter, please reach out. Let's have a chat so we can build something that's really useful.
And what are the most in-demand roles you are seeing in the Bitcoin job market right now?
So we have around 50-50 tech roles and non-tech roles. Actually, it's a little more than 50% on the non-tech side, which surprises everybody, because people always think, oh, you have to
That's great.
work in Bitcoin. And we have proven now that this is not true. So we have collected 1 full year now in 2024 of Bitcoin job data, because after scraping all of these job listings, we collected a lot of data, which we started to analyze. And yeah, to the surprise of everybody, it's sort of 50-50, but often with more roles on the non-dev side. So on the dev side, we have any type of engineer or developer roles. And on the non-dev side, we see, I think the most in-demand one is product owner or product manager. I've also seen a lot of people maybe we can link this. We have our annual report so people can see this for themselves. Graphics designer, accountants, community support, of course, marketing, a lot of the roles that you're used to from the fiat world as well. Yeah, so they also exist. I mean, in terms of numbers, it's of course less than in our Bitcoin niche. It's less roles or numbers of vacancies than in out there in the big fiat world. But in terms of roles, I mean, they are all normal companies that need the same roles that we are used to from the traditional world.
Okay, so like working in a fiat world and transitioning into crypto, it's like definitely, like a big step, to be honest, because I mean, during my university years, I did study classical marketing, but when I actually worked in crypto and in marketing, it was completely different. So there were like different strategies and tactics that we needed to use in order to get ahead, because advertisement and PPC wasn't available. So like we needed to come up with like more creative ideas to get our product in front of the customer. So is there any advice that you would give to someone who is like stuck in a fiat job but like really curious about Bitcoin and wants to transition into working for a Bitcoin company?
Many things. I mean, one thing, like you just said, is to be open to new technologies and new ways of working. This is not an industry where you can say, oh, we've always done it this way. you need to just go with the pace of the industry. And just now with AI, like every day I see a new thing on Twitter that AI can do now. It's crazy. So that is one thing. You need to be a future focused, technology loving person, I think. Also, but I mean, the whole concept of Bitcoin is to disrupt the existing system or to replace it. So that also trickles down to what you do on a day-to-day basis. And in your job, you may do completely different things or in different ways than you did it before. In terms of how to transition, the most important thing, I believe, is to build your network, to have a Bitcoin network. And I always say to people, build your network before you need it. If you are already like at the point where you start to apply for jobs, or you're desperate to get a job, that's not the time when you should start building your network. This is the time when you tap into your network for help. So you should start building this way beforehand. But that is also something that most Bitcoiners do, because everyone usually starts to moonlight as a Bitcoiner first. So you have your normal day job, your fiat job, and you start attending meetups or conferences, or you hang out online in groups with Bitcoiners. So people naturally do this. And of course, Bitcoin is a network. The Bitcoin community is a network. So this is a natural part. But when you come to the point where you think, "Ooh, I want to work in this industry," just become a little bit more intentional about this, and pick your sub community. So one thing that I always suggest to people is to pick a few favorite projects in the space and join their online communities. Every company, every startup in Bitcoin has their own little community, whether it's an app that has a community of beta testers on Telegram, or it's a company that has a whole bunch of ambassadors or affiliates, or something that help with the buzz on social media. Just find your 2 or 3 favorites maybe, and join their communities, because in what other industry do we get to hang out with the CEOs and founders of of projects directly in small online communities? This is really special about our industry. And I found one of my jobs by joining community. I was working for Fountain, the podcast app. I was one of their beta testers in the beginning. So I was in the group helping out, testing things, and then at some point they were looking for a customer support person to set up customer support, which is what I do as an operations manager, or one of the things I do. And yeah, I raised my hand, and I got hired, because why would they hire a stranger from a CV if they already have someone in their insider community that knows their product inside out, that is a fan of the product, uses it every day? Yeah, so find your favorite projects, join the communities, be visible, be helpful. Make sure the founders recognize your name and remember your name. And then the moment they start hiring, you might be in a much better position than just blindly applying to vacancies online.
And what are some common mistakes that you see job seekers make? So, like, for example, not joining the community could be one of them.
Yeah, not doing all the things we just said. Yeah. So, yeah, like really building a network, this is really important. And maybe for some people it's not so obvious, or it's not so easy, but it's worth getting out of your comfort zone and doing this, because it can pay off really well in the long run. Also, build your proof of work. I mean, proof of work is one of the most important things. Show your involvement in Bitcoin. And just like you shouldn't start building your network only when you need it, you also shouldn't start showing your proof of work only when you need it. It should be there and visible by the time a recruiter Googles you online. Yeah. So make sure that somewhere, when just put yourself in the position of a recruiter. If they Google you, what do you want them to find out about you? Yeah. So maybe just put on your LinkedIn that you have been volunteering at the conference or for a certain startup, or that you have been writing lots of articles or making tutorials, or everybody can. Some people build apps, some people like to write, some people like to run meetups. There are so many ways to be involved in Bitcoin. Just make sure that this is visible online. Because when you do apply for a job and a recruiter researches you, then they should see, oh, wow, this person has been involved in the community for the last 1 or 2 years, So it shouldn't only start since yesterday. Don't only put or think of this when you are in the situation where you're looking for a job.
So it's a longer process. So we shouldn't just like decide that tomorrow I'm gonna move into Bitcoin and then that's it.
Yeah, I mean, it is also a longer process to come to the conclusion, because there are many Bitcoiners who just enjoy this from the sidelines. I mean, the community, they might have Bitcoin and they believe in Bitcoin, but maybe they have businesses or jobs that they really enjoy and they have no intention to work in the industry. But some people arrive at the conclusion that they do want to work in the industry. And then it's good if they, by that time, have already like a track record or something that's visible online.
And how can we take advantage of the resources that we can find on BitVocation?
The best way is to really use them and implement them. So we have a beginner's guide on our Substack that people can download. And I actually did a little mini survey or poll a couple of weeks ago to ask people, was it helpful? Did you read it? Did you do something after you read it? Did you implement any of the tips? And I think it was about 50-50 or something. People found it useful, but only half of the people actually took any action as a result of it. And then a week later, I got a really long email from someone where he answered every question really in a lot of detail. And he was like, I read the guide and this is what I did. I updated my LinkedIn. I wrote an article about Bitcoin. I applied as a volunteer at the conference and I got accepted. And I did it. And that was amazing. And that is what I wish everybody would do, because often we just consume content online and it's nice, but that's it. And then we forget about it. But yeah, it's only when you do the work, proof of work, that you will receive rewards as a result. So yeah, and that person that they are going now to this conference, I think in May, and I'm really curious what the results of connecting there will be. So that makes me really happy when people actually put all the tips into action.
Yeah, and as you said it earlier, like they need to start it way earlier to actually get into the space of Bitcoin and then building their reputation and their network before they actually look for a job. And as I can see it now, we are heading into a recession, so it will be harder and harder to get a job for anyone in general, not just like someone who wants to work in Bitcoin. So for someone who is like thinking about their future right now, is there any like 5 key steps that they should consider before making that leap?
Yeah, so there's a general question, and then there's also the question of working in Bitcoin. And this job stability or recession and being financially safe is a really big question that everybody really needs to consider before they leave a secure job. I agree with you. Like, it's not just because of recession, it is because of AI, because of all of these new technologies that are happening at such a fast speed right now that we really don't know how long certain jobs will still be around. Yeah. So there are many reasons why I can understand that people get worried. And even though I'm in the field of Bitcoin jobs, something that I really have to warn everybody about is that if you're looking for job security, do not work in Bitcoin. Bitcoin does not provide you job security. It's fun, it's a meaningful work, you are at the forefront of changing the world. But if you are looking for stability and having job security, maybe it's better to stay in your fiat job where you are right now. You can be the Bitcoiner in your fiat job, because if it's true that one day every company will be a Bitcoin company, then it's just a matter of time until where you are right now will be a Bitcoin company too. So this is just something that I want to say upfront, because some people have families to support, or other reasons why they really need a stable income. Bitcoin job market, just like Bitcoin, is still very new and very volatile. Yeah, and it's exciting, but it's not secure. And even we just saw this last year with Swan, they were hiring a lot of people in the first half of the year. And then in the second half of the year, something happened and they had to let a lot of people go again. So this can happen even to the most reputable companies. Yeah, I always tell people, be a good money manager. Yeah, like I am a really good money manager. I have periods in my life where for months I don't have an income. I can handle that. I prepare for that. Not everybody can do that. That aside, 5 things. Okay. As I said, build your network before you need it. Build your proof of work, whatever it is. Everybody has skills that they can use for Bitcoin. Just start using them and also show them, because many people might be doing something really fantastic for Bitcoin and nobody knows about it. So be sure that you also show this online. Yeah, maybe you have helped everyone in your family install a wallet and get into Bitcoin. Just write about it. Like whether make a tweet or something. Oh, I had my mom install a wallet today and she asked me this question. Here's what I said. Or, like there are ways that you can keep a track record online in whatever way you contribute to Bitcoin. Also use Bitcoin. It's not enough to just have to own some Bitcoin and keep it on an exchange. If you want to work in Bitcoin, make sure that you have a wallet where you know what private keys are, how to keep them secure. Have a Nostr account, know how to zap some sats back and forth, Lightning, listen to podcasts on Fountain or Breeze and not on Spotify or wherever. Use all the products. Be a Bitcoiner in your daily life. If you're not authentically a Bitcoiner, why would you want to work in Bitcoin? But also, Bitcoin companies want to work with other Bitcoiners. So make sure you are a Bitcoiner, you live Bitcoin and use it in your daily life. And then just use all of our resources. Sign up to the feed, download the guide, follow us on Nostr, and just see what's out there, basically.
So you said that you've been scraping like thousands of jobs in the past year. So you must have seen some interesting trends. What were the most interesting ones, or like
Yeah,
surprising ones?
I think the most interesting or surprising thing really is the fact that you don't have to be a developer to work in Bitcoin, because I think this is still the biggest misconception that people have. And I'm happy that we could prove that this is not the case, because before it was just my assumption, or from my experience, I thought this would change between the bull market and the bear market. Yeah, in the bear market, there are less jobs, teams have less money, and in the bear market is there to build. And who builds? The developers. Yeah, so during a bear market, you will have more developer jobs. And then once we're in the bull market, teams have more money. And then they can hire for all the other jobs that help them organize the business, scale the business, and like all the operational marketing business and non-tech roles. So I actually expected to see a lot more of these non-dev roles during a bull market. We'll see if this will also be the case. But I was surprised that even during this time, while we are sort of in between right now, or in 2024, we were already there, we saw that it's 50-50, or with a slight, I think we had 60% of roles that we scraped or captured that were non-dev roles. So that was the most interesting part. Yeah. And the other thing is also that that's not surprising though, that most of the roles are remote, which is also really in line with a freedom-loving, borderless network and the job market, that this is the case. So that's just something that we confirmed. But yeah, the non-dev roles, that was an interesting fact.
I know that we are mostly like digital nomads and we are all over the world, but like, is there any particular region where like the crypto jobs are booming, or like hotspots where crypto people love to like meet and concentrate?
So I'm going to distinguish between Bitcoin and crypto, because we really do only Bitcoin at BitVocation. And so for the wider crypto space or Web3, this might be different. But for the Bitcoin jobs that we captured, the US are definitely the hotspot. So where the roles are might be, if they are remote, then they can be anywhere. But the companies that are hiring were mainly in the US. Also in Europe, we captured some in Brazil, El Salvador also, of course, there's a lot going on. But the US is definitely the biggest employer in Bitcoin.
Is there any like cultural difference between a Bitcoin startup or a Bitcoin company and like a normal traditional startup?
I don't know. Didn't work for startups before I entered the Bitcoin and crypto space. So I actually don't know. I cannot answer this question, but it could just all be startup. They might be the same, but it's just startup culture. So there's definitely a difference to the corporate world. Um, but yeah, I honestly don't know. And the only thing that I suspect is that it's much in Bitcoin, particularly, also more than in crypto and Web3. Bitcoin is very culture focused. Yeah. So the passion for Bitcoin and whether someone really is a Bitcoiner probably has a lot of weight in hiring decisions. Yeah. So if there are two equally skilled candidates and one is a Bitcoiner and the other one isn't, well, then definitely the Bitcoiner will get the job. So culture is, and even I don't have evidence for this, but from conversation, if even the Bitcoiner is slightly less skilled than the other one, still the Bitcoiner will get the job, because culture is so important. Skills you can teach anybody, you can teach people how to do the job, but you cannot teach someone to be a Bitcoiner or tell someone to be a Bitcoiner,
Yeah.
Plus, due to this volatile nature of Bitcoin and the 4-year cycles, a true Bitcoiner will also stick with you through hard times if they feel culturally aligned or really like passionate about the project. They will not just run away just because they get more money at another job. Yeah. So culture is really, really important in Bitcoin.
Isn't it something like you cannot like really make people pick a religion? So isn't it a little bit like similar to that? And also at the same time, like I'm hearing from what you were saying, that employers are looking for more of like a can-do attitude.
Yeah, it's the passion. It's like, I mean, human nature is that we like to hang out with other people who are like us,
Mm.
and especially in the startup world, where also the roles are not as defined as in larger organizations where people get way more specialized. In the
Mhm.
beginning, everybody just rolls up their sleeves and does what needs to get done,
Mhm.
and if they are even like more passionate about the product and like as a Bitcoiner, you just know like what the worldview of people is, what their attitude is to life or to the current system or whatever. You don't even need to ask, like if you have Bitcoin in common, you already know 80% of about someone, or whether they fit into a team or not. So yeah, that's different.
That's true. So you also work as an operations consultant for Bitcoin startups. What kind of support do you offer to founders?
Yeah, so as a German, my job is just to make everything more efficient. So like I spend a lot of time, like I said, setting up customer support. Like I remember when I was at Fountain, they had like 2,000 unanswered customer tickets, like completely overwhelmed because they were doing everything. So yeah, I came in, I set up systems, software, proper ticketing software, and scripts and automated things, and yeah, just made everything more efficient so that customers would get answers. Yeah, I also do the same for startups who need more structure in their like HR or like in the staff operations. Because also a common thing is that, unfortunately, common thing is that people can often not rely on their payday because everybody's doing everything, and then the founder also has to pay the staff. And so I have also done that. Set up systems for HR, made sure that people could rely on the payday, paid them every month. And so, yeah, I love bringing structure and efficiency into chaotic startup environments. That's just, yeah, something I'm good at and that I love to do. And managing the money as well. So that's another thing. So operations is a wide field. You can use these skills in different departments. Yeah.
And how do you personally balance your work between BitVocation and your consulting roles? Is it like challenging to bring them together?
Not really, because often it's just part-time, so it's not like a 8 hours a day job. And also I have a team. I'm not alone in BitVocation. I have certain roles inside BitVocation, and I have two, not full-time team members, not full-time in terms of time, because they also have day jobs. They contribute their time, but they are full team members. So, and one is focusing on all the partnerships that we have with conferences or with any other stakeholders in the industry. And the other one is focusing on all the tech side and our data analysis and everything. So for me, yeah, I have the content under me, also the Power Lab. I'm in the Power Lab, of course, every day with our members there, and yeah, being the face of BitVocation, talking to you, speaking at conferences. So we have a nice distribution of responsibilities. Yeah.
Would you recommend this to someone who is like starting out in Bitcoin as well, to actually like stand on multiple legs? So, for example, maybe keep like part-time the field job and then a little bit of like Bitcoin job on the side if it's possible. I mean, I haven't really seen like part-time jobs in Bitcoin because, as we know, like even if it's a full-time job, you're gonna sometimes work 12, 20 hours a day if it needs be. But yeah.
Yeah, I have the feeling everyone has a sort of a side project, and maybe that is also a startup culture thing. And I've even seen on job listings that companies really appreciate if someone has a side project, because yeah, it shows how involved you are in the industry. It shows you're creative. It shows that you are ambitious and self-determined, self-directed, and it's an entrepreneurial spirit. And I think every employee in a startup should have some sort of entrepreneurial side. Like the typical employee who just does what they are told and then they collect a paycheck at the end of the month, I don't think really that exists, or not in a successful way, in the startup culture or in Bitcoin. Because yeah, like the whole concept or mindset of proof of work is so ingrained in our industry, and that means that you're ambitious, self-directed. You don't ask for permission if you want to do something, if you want to build an app, or if you want to start something. If I want to build a Telegram feed, I just do it. If nobody likes it, well, then I stop, I do something else, but maybe it catches on, so everybody should just start doing stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's probably like something that our listeners can take away from this. It's like you can listen to as many podcasts, or you can read as many like self-help books or helpers
Yeah.
online. Like you need to start doing, and you need to
Yeah.
start it today, not tomorrow.
Yeah, and also on that note, we have in BitVocation, we have something called BTX, BitVocation Talent Exchange, which is something for those people who don't have an idea what they could do. Because I noticed that many people want to create some proof of work, but they don't know what to do, or they don't want to do it just for themselves. So we offer this. I always offer this first inside the PowerLab, but sometimes also publicly, because we need help in BitVocation. That could be small things like we have sent people to conferences to wear a BitVocation T-shirt and just tell when they find themselves in a conversation, just to tell people about BitVocation, what we do. And we also sometimes we need video editors, or like both of my team members, that's how they came to me. This was first sort of a talent exchange, so they get to do something that serves BitVocation. In return, they get a testimonial from me, of course. They can put their first Bitcoin job on their CV. They get maybe to network on behalf of BitVocation and then build their own network at the same time. So there are tons of things that can be done. So yeah, if people don't know how they can contribute, even writing an article or something, we also want to build a bigger platform in the future. So there will be lots of possibilities. So just follow us, or join the Power Lab. So you're at the first address where we look for those people who can help us.
And how do you see BitVocation growing in the next 1 or 2 years? Any big dreams or experiments on the horizon?
Yeah, I really, first I would like to have a proper website, which is which is taking more time than it should. But yeah, there are also reasons for that. And then once that is in place, to have like really a platform that is all about working in Bitcoin. So whether that is finding a job or anything that is related to that, because maybe you're in a traditional company, but you want to receive your salary in Bitcoin. Yeah, there are ways how to do that. I just want to create a really informative resource platform that covers all of these subjects, anything that is related. Maybe also starting a business or getting health insurance in Bitcoin. Like there are so many things that are happening and being built in the space that are related to that. So that would be my long-term goal, also to partner with all of these providers of these services. And I would also, I really want to build a proper service for employers. Lots of stuff is happening in the background, not as fast as I would like to, but when you're a startup, when people mainly work on it in their spare time and still have day jobs, then you have to be a little bit patient.
Yeah, and website development is not always the easiest part. It's like it's something that is like a very pain in
Yeah.
everyone's behinds, but
Yeah.
once it's done, it's
Even now with the AI, where you can just make a prompt and it builds your whole website, even then you still need to tinker and fine tune. And
Is there anything that we didn't talk about like during our podcast, but you would like our listeners to know about?
I just, want people to know that we are really trying to fill the gap to be there for job seekers, because this is something that I saw missing. Like I didn't want to build another job board or a recruitment agency, nothing. I really wanted to be there for the job seekers, to help make their life easier, to give a little bit of support and cheerleading at some in some way, but also really provide resources and build tools that really help them make things faster and easier and more efficient.
So where can people follow you and stay up to date with everything you are building?
So on one hand, we have our Substack, which you can reach just by typing bitvocation.com. And there we have a beginner's guide, how to find your first job in Bitcoin, that you instantly get when you subscribe, with lots of tips in there. And then, the other address is, of course, the BitVocation feed on Telegram. So you can just type in BitVocation feed, which basically, you will see all the jobs almost in real time as they are being published. And one thing that I keep forgetting to mention is that people can also talk with the bot directly. So basically, the feed is a Telegram channel where our bot posts all the jobs. But you can also talk with the bot directly and create job alerts, search by keyword. Because the feed, sometimes there's a lot, sometimes there's not so much. But if it gets overwhelming, then you can just go to the bot and say, hey, give me all the UX designer jobs, or show me all the jobs of the last 7 days, or just alert me every time you see a customer support job or whatever. So that is also a really cool tool that I keep forgetting to tell people about.
So every detail and every link, we will put every link into the description of our podcast. And Anja, thank you so much for the conversation. I remember times when during the FTX crash and the crisis that happened, I also found myself in a situation where I was looking for a job afterwards because the company that I was working for went bankrupt due to that. So I remember that it was a very difficult time and it was very hard for me to do it by myself. And I really would have appreciated a helping hand your group or even just a feed, just to not look for the job by myself.
I'm sorry you had to experience that, but thank you for saying that. And the job feed is mainly just for inspiration. I don't think it's the best way to find a job by just applying to all of these. Like we have covered in our conversation, there are other ways that you have to do in addition, or that might be even more useful, like building a network, building a proof of work. And the Power Lab really is for us to help people become findable. So that is my whole thing, for people to flip the script a little bit. And instead of chasing jobs, just think about, what if the jobs would chase me? What has to be in place for me to be found by all the jobs that are out there? Because if you think more in efficiency terms, it's much more efficient if things come to you instead of you having to chase them. But you have to put certain things into place, and your network and your proof of work are the most important things to lay the groundwork for that.
Thank you so much. And if anyone wants to reach out to Anja or learn more about BitVocation, we will link everything into the show notes. So, and also if you have questions to Anja or BitVocation in general, just feel free to comment, and we will ask Anja to reply, or we will try to help you by ourselves as well.
I'll keep an eye on the comment section. Thanks so much for having me, Barbara. This was really nice.
Thanks for tuning in to Bitcoin Kebab, the podcast by Bitcoin.